In that last video, I talked about what I plan to do. And I realized a little too late that I didn't really talk about why. I kind of talked about it from like a personal anecdote, which, can be valid, but at the same time, it didn't feel complete. So, and then I realized, oh, because I didn't say why, like actually why. So I'm gonna add this as kind of like a footnote, or like maybe like a part two to that one video, and kind of tell you like why I want to take things in a different direction, right? So I did mention that like I had felt left out myself, and I had to kind of approach mysticism and spirituality and all this stuff from different angles. Sometimes a little bit more rational angles. I had to like break things down for myself in order to understand things. And I mentioned how, there's definitely people, like, I can't be the only one. There's definitely other people out there who, like me, um, have avoided or do currently still avoid things that are unseen, write them off as like just silliness and like invalid or whatever, because either they feel excluded like I had, or they just don't seem to understand it in the way that it's currently like in the mainstream and generally explained to like other people who are trying to understand it, right? And I had said that I kind of pledged to do things differently and to share my experiences and how I've learned things in kind of unorthodox ways. Um, so that things like kind of made more sense to me, and I didn't have to lose any part of myself. So I didn't have to really lose that logical part of myself, and I didn't have to lose that part of me that kind of yearned for the unseen worlds, right? Yearned to have my intuition back. And so when it comes to why I want to do this, it's more than just like a personal desire, right? The reason I want to share it is because this kind of like seeing both of these things, both like this logical um, sphere, this world of the logical, and then seeing kind of the world of the spiritual, um, there is kind of this sense of belonging and this sense of um, connection that you feel from either worlds, right? But you have to find that connection in order to feel that way. If you feel disconnected, you're gonna, again, like as I mentioned before, you're not gonna feel welcome, and you're not gonna seek that connection in any way, right? And even if that connection reaches out to you, you're not going to pay any attention to it. But I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that this feeling of connection, anytime you connect to something and everything for a second, that like the world just like makes sense and you are able to digest this piece of information. You're like, I see, like that's why things are like this or whatever. Um, it is one of the best feelings, if not the best feeling that I've ever experienced. It just makes life worth living. And I think at the end of the day, that's something we all seek, is a reason to live. So I want everyone to experience this. And so everyone um, finds that connection to the thing that their soul kind of seeks, that the deepest parts of them kind of seeks out. And the way I want to do this, like the way I would kind of describe it is like, say you and I were kind of like on a walk on like a forest, and we both find a fruit, and we've never seen this fruit ever before in our life. And, but we're both hungry, we're both starving. And I take a bite, even though this is unknown and I'm scared, but I'm hungry and I want to eat, and you're hungry and you want to eat. What I want to do here is to, because it's hard to sort of take that bite right away, right? Even if you are hungry, you could be worried there's like poison. You could be worried that, maybe it's gone bad. There's lots of dangers out there that our fears kind of innately seek out. But my kind of like why I want to do this is I want to show you that as I take a bite and I explain kind of the texture and the taste of it, um, it if it not to encourage you to take a bite, but rather giving you the option to take a bite, um, kind of showing you that it's okay to take a bite, because essentially, um, this fruit isn't harming me in any way. That this unknown that we're kind of walking through together, this unknown um, situation, right? This encounter that we're having isn't as scary as initially seemed. And I'm hoping again by sort of explaining the texture and the taste, it can, yeah, I'm not like trying to persuade you or anything, but rather, if you were kind of on the fence, it may encourage you to also take a bite in order to sort of feed yourself, right? To sustain yourself. Because it's when we take these sort of ventures into the unknown, when we dip our toes into waters where we can't kind of see below the surface, that's when we open ourselves up to these experiences that are unknown. Um, that's when we start finding our sparks, right? So let's say, as another example, a different example, you're a painter and you've always been a painter and you paint and you paint and you paint and you love it, but you reach a burnout, which, a lot of us experience. And you would have never thought to look at like math or these like silly rational numbers and logical like diagrams and things. But you may find that like in not even having to like look at like formulas or the theory of it, but even as you look at just like the way certain graphs look or certain geometric shapes look, or what am I thinking of? Um, even like more abstract things that we can do with like numbers. I think fractals come from like numbers, but these things you can use these things as inspiration to gain back your inspiration, right? So sometimes we find our spark, that connection that we all seek, that reason for living in the place that we expect it the least. And the places that we expect the least are often in the unknown. So I'm hoping that by breaking things down for you a little and showing you that it's not really that scary or unknowable, that it'll inspire you to also venture out and look at things and in a different light and understand that every aspect of the universe has a place for you. And I really and truly, with like all my heart, believe that.